How poor college students create Google from their dorm. The two computer kids. They are the two computer kids who altered the course of history. As far as we know, Larry and Sergey have always had this irreverent attitude, which is what made them so creative. These two founders consider themselves to be noblemen. They believe that what they are doing is beneficial to the world. Microsoft is concerned about some guys in a dorm inventing a new technology that they have never considered. Larry Page and Sergey Brin have become virtual masters of the universe of information gathering what we don't know in an industry where innovation is just part of the job description. Sergey Brin was born in the USSR. His parents were mathematicians who were also Jewish, which limited their career options. Sergey's father told him that if he didn't return with a B, he wouldn't get second place. Make it always first, and Serge internalized this, and it did form a core part of his personality, like Brin's. Larry Page was born in the year 1973. His family lived in Michigan, and his father was the first in his family to graduate from college. Both of his parents worked in related fields. They were second-generation computer scientists, which was unusual at the time. In the 1960s, computer science was still in its infancy, and both of their parents had advanced degrees here. They see themselves as being on a mission, and they are on that mission. Page and Brin pushed for a better solution. Sergey's main interest was in taking all of the pages on the internet and trying to make sense of it, looking for patterns. They began to keep track of backlinks. They called them pages because they noticed that every web page had hundreds or even thousands of other pages that linked to it. Google was created. A Eureka moment occurred. The so-called information era would be altered by that. After that, they understood how useful that list of backlinks may be for ranking. More backlinks indicated that your page was superior. It is likely that consumers found a web page to be useful if several other websites linked to it. The genius was therefore unaware that this algorithm might provide the kind of search results that were most important. Page and Brin had a formula that only they knew. It now required a name. The men were searching for a fantastic name that would perfectly express the lofty idea they had when they came up with this behemoth, with 100 zeros after the number 1, commonly referred to as Google. When they registered Google as a website, Page and Brin to concentrate on securing money for their startup. Google simply did not fit the conventional wisdom of what a website should do, which was to prevent users from moving to another page. Google pulled off the unthinkable. Larry Page and Sergey Brin's brand had a different attitude toward assisting users in exploring the larger web. They stated that they do not want a portal. They expect to receive search results in a fraction of a second. So, Larry and Sergey were sitting on the porch of a Stanford professor one Sunday morning when Andy Bettelheim, one of the founders of Sun Microsystems, pulls up in his sports car, walks up, gets a 10-minute demo, and says this is fantastic. This is the next huge thing, and immediately writes a check for $100,000 made payable to Google. The development. Nobody believed in Google. They returned to Rob Sharon. They found 3 other investors and raised enough money to get them off the ground. $1 million, including $250,000 from Jeff Bezos of Amazon.com Page and Bean Incorporated. Google was founded on September 4, 1998, and they moved into one of Menlo Park's storied garages. Google issued the company's first press release, announcing the $25 million B-Page investment now required to hire top engineers. They created an informal company called Googleplex by providing employee services such as free food and childcare. Google had a "Don't be evil" motto, but it wasn't working. No advertisements meant no revenue. Page and Brin had no choice but to accept advertising. In the early days, there were search engines that, when you went to a page, the first few things that appeared to be regular search results happened to be things that the sponsors of those had paid the search engine to put there, and they said, that's not good for users. Instead of distracting pop-ups or flashing ads, they invented a new method of targeting text ads triggered by search requests. These small advertisements were placed above and beside search results. It's commonplace now, but it was revolutionary back then. Businesses large and small could take control of their advertising dollars by purchasing ads through Google AdWords. Advertisers appreciate the system because they only pay when someone clicks on their advertisement. For many advertisers, it is the most effective form of business marketing they have ever used. With a huge new revenue stream, by September of 2000, Google had exploded. It had 1 billion URLs indexed and was available in 15 languages. Despite all of Google's success, outside of Silicon Valley, few people knew who had created it. Spectacular growth. Eric Schmidt became CEO of Google at the end of 2001. Page became president of products, and Brin became president of technology. They anticipate each other's words and support one another. There is no tension between them. That is one of the company's great strengths with Eric Schmidt in place. Google's meteoric rise continued, while its competitors gradually faded away. The search engine linked to 3 billion web pages and formed a partnership with OL, which resulted in the acquisition of 34 million new customers. To figure out the stock's value and attempt to maximize it, on August 19, 2004, the stock price finished at slightly over $100 per share, giving the firm a value of almost $23 billion. Soon, the two founders became billionaires. Google Maps, Google News, and Google Earth were additions to the business. Their reputation had been established by their idealist nature and audacious ideas, but the business was struggling with its free email service. Gmail was a fantastic product. Users noticed adverts that appeared to be directly tied to their personal emails after a bad launch. Alarms sounded. People were surprised when they first saw these advertisements because they couldn't believe how specific they were. Google and China agreed in 2006 on one condition in exchange for access to their 400 million online users. The Rivalry. Compared to personal computers, there are a ton more mobile phone. It should eventually balance out again as more and more searches are conducted on mobile devices. This should take several years. It took no time at all. The iPhone's amazing success in 2007 put the two businesses on a collision course. Brin and Page declared that his Android operating system would work with a range of mobile devices. At the Google Developer Conference in May 2010, Google's vice president of engineering trip into Apple was criticized for Google's entry into the phone industry and said that they were attempting to kill the iPhone.
If Google did not act, we faced a draconian future. A future where one man, one company, one device, one carrier would be our only choice. That's a future we don't want.
In the world of technology, Google is competing with yet another titan. They compete with Microsoft in a variety of ways. They use the Chrome browser. Microsoft has internet access. Google also acquired companies that dealt with online versions of word processing, software, and spreadsheets, all of which compete directly with Microsoft's Office product. Microsoft responded with its own search engine, Bing, which launched in the spring of 2009. Bing, ironically, offered Google protection by allowing them to avoid accusations of monopoly. This is the company closest to us as a competitor, according to Bill Gates. Because of these two founders, there is a blind spot. They consider themselves to be noblemen. They believe that what they are doing is beneficial to the world. They've always enjoyed the feeling of being the underdog, as if the evil empire was Microsoft. And now that they've discovered that they're the evil empire, their own slogan "Do No Evil" is being used against them. Google's journey to organize the world's information has taken a new turn, a detour with an ambitious feature. Street View was dubbed an attempt to photograph every neighborhood on the planet. It would happen eventually. Ordinary images from Main Street to extraordinary views of Antarctica were captured, but private user information was also obtained from unsecured Wi-Fi location. Many people felt that their privacy had been violated. Google admitted the error and agreed to destroy the data. The search company was struggling to diversify and was up against an aggressive new challenger. Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook's 1 billion users spend more time on the social network, posting valuable information that is invisible to Google's search engine, information that all advertisers chase. So far, Google's efforts at social networking have failed, but its founders are acutely aware that as users' web habits change, Google will need to make a lot more friends. Eric Schmidt announced in January 2011 that Google was simplifying its management structure and that Larry Page was ready to lead and would take over from him as CEO. Co-founder Sergey Brin will focus on new products. Schmidt tweeted, "Day-to-day, adult supervision no longer needed." The legacy. In the space of a year, Google grew from a startup to a technology behemoth, earning $50 billion in revenue in 2012. Larry and Sergey's attitude was always one of irreverence, which is what made them so creative. Google attracts people who care about their customers and their coworkers, who is concerned about the environment and simply cannot sit still. They created a company that completely transformed the world,